We are sitting here with Amanda Leadman. Amanda, can you tell everybody where you work and what shop you work at?
I work in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania at True Hand Society.
True Hand recently opened a new location up in that church. Can you talk a little bit about when did you move in here?
Okay, so I moved here 2 years ago, and I think Mike locked down the church maybe 4 months after I came back to Philadelphia. So it's been months and months of redoing this entire space, getting it all ready, and they only came here, I think, last fall, late November, something like that. So I've actually never tattooed in the church.
It's a beautiful
I just come hang out, yeah.
Where did you work at beforehand?
So we were actually right down the street, probably a 5-minute walk in a really nice space. So this is much bigger and now Mike's own, so it's great.
It's absolutely gorgeous in here. I was walking in here before and I was outside and I couldn't believe that there was a tattoo studio in here.
It's crazy, yeah.
You're currently on maternity leave.
I am.
Congratulations on the baby.
Thank you.
How old is the baby?
He's 7 months.
What's his name? Oh, you don't have to give his name.
That's okay, his name's Ellis.
Okay. You're currently on maternity leave. Are you doing any painting with the limited free time that you have available?
I am, yeah. I got really excited. Somebody asked me to do a painting for them and I kind of was like, I don't know if I can. This is a lot with the baby and I don't know. And then I cranked one out and then I was like, oh, I can actually do this and shuffle it. So I got really excited and I've painted, since having him, I've done 7 paintings and working on one right now. So whenever he goes to bed at like 7. And then on the nights I have nothing else to clean, basically, I just paint.
Are you doing commissions or are they?
No commissions. No, that's a great question. Some people have asked me if they could commission something and I am just really enjoying doing it for me when I can. I did 1 commission and I'm glad I did it, but it just kind of reiterated that I don't want any, my time is so limited that any pressure on that makes it not fun. I'm just really enjoying doing it when I can.
Can you describe your tattoo style?
I would say a more traditional approach to not so traditional subject matter.
So you went from working in Dayton, Ohio to Philadelphia to
Nashville,
Block 13, and now back into Philadelphia. What caused you to move back to Philly?
So quite a few reasons. One, I started dating my now husband, Matt Lambden, who was tattooing in Detroit. And we started dating and we were just like, this is going great, let's live in the same city. And then we kind of just were brainstorming where to be. And he was like, you know, I got friends in Philly, you got friends in Philly. What if we went back to Philly? And my sister is in Jersey, about an hour away. And I just found out she was pregnant.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah. So I was like, that would be really cool to be closer to her.
Between both your kids then.
Perfect age, yes. So we came back and I had done, actually I was the first guest artist here at True Hand when Mike opened up 5 years ago. And I called him and I said, do you think I could have a job if I moved to Philly? And he was like, yes. And I said, do you think my boyfriend could have a job too? And he was like, yep. And I was like, don't you want to see his work? And he was like, no, I trust you. So I was like, okay.
Good reference.
Yeah.
Based off the reference.
Yeah, and Mike Ski, who's the owner, is just been a really great friend.
Before, very nice guy.
The happiest, sweetest.
Did Matt work in Philly? Did Matt ever live in Philly before him?
No, he has just only lived in Detroit. He actually owned a shop in Detroit. Okay. Yeah, so he, the lease is now up on that, and so he's done with that and fully here. Yeah.
Have you noticed, since you worked in multiple cities, have you noticed a difference in the tattoo scene in Nashville, which is a very popular industry, and Philly?
Yeah, I would say, you know, the shops are very different. Because this is a private studio, we don't get the walk-ins, but I mean, there was days in Nashville where you walk in Block 13 on a Saturday, and there would be a line of like 40 people out the door, just trying to get in for whatever. So that's very different in general. Nashville's popping right now, you know. I don't know when the last time you were there, but it's like almost unrecognizable. So that in itself, there's a lot of tourism, a lot of new faces. I think 100 people move there a day. So it is just like popping off.
Portland, pretty much.
Yeah, it is just the new thing, you know. So here is a lot calmer. A lot of the clients are, you know, we got a lot of working class clients just like us, and they come back for more. And I would say generally are maybe a little bit edgier in the choices of what they get. But then again, that's so broad. So
do does True Hand so like Black 13 has a very big variety of artists?
Yes.
Does True Hand offer something similar?
I would say so. Not quite as broad as Black 13.
I'm not trying to compare the shops.
No. I love them. I love them so much, and I love these guys here. And I think there's just a lot of differences, but none of it's bad, you know. I think Doy, which is the owner of Black 13, has really like honed in to fill each space of what anybody walking in the door would want. And here it's kind of like who your friends are, you know. It's like, I got this buddy, I think it would meld really well personality-wise. So they come in, and I would say in general this is a more traditional sort of veered shop, but Matt does Japanese stuff, you know. Cindy does really beautiful black and gray work, you know, so there's still a bit of a mix. I wouldn't say it's a one-trick pony.
That makes sense. True Hand offers tattoos and a design. I mean, it's a tattoo studio and a design firm.
Yeah.
Can you talk about how that works, and do the tattoo artists and the designers collaborate on ideas together?
Yeah, every once in a while. So it's mainly they work on the one side and we kind of work on the other. We throw ideas off each other, bounce back and forth. Topper, I would say, has been the most involved. He's really good at lettering and things like that, so they've had him jump on some projects for the design team. They actually did, you know, Oxford Pennant is a really great, any convention you go to, like everybody's got the pennants now, you know, and they're just beautiful. So Oxford Pennant did a mashup with True Hand, and Topper designed some of the pennants along with Jesse, who's on the design team. And then I got included once because a local gift boutique wanted a custom wallpaper in a floral design, and so they were like, Amanda, you got the floral thing going on, do you want to design this wallpaper? And so I took on that challenge, and basically almost like I'm outsourced from the design team, and I get cut a check for designing the wallpaper. So that was really fun.
I wasn't sure, like when you guys are creating the shirts, if for the shirts for the shop,
Yeah.
are those handled by the design team or?
Both. Mostly the design team. I did a tote bag that I designed, and then they figured out and got printed. And then I think Jake's working on a t-shirt now. So it's like whoever's got the motivation and the free time can jump in at any time.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's very
It's cool.
unique.
It is very
I've never
unique.
seen a shop that has a split business owners.
There's a lot of perks. I mean, any shop I've been at, it's like, oh, we need business cards, or oh, you need stickers. But these guys have accounts with everybody. It's what they do, you know. So we constantly are having things updated and new stickers and new da-da-da, because they just know who to go to and where. And
Plus, you guys have an excellent team to design your website.
Absolutely. We don't have to worry about social media. Absolutely. A lot of perks.
We heard that you once tattooed Anthony Bourdain.
I did.
Can you tell us, what did you do on him? How was that? How did you end up tattooing him?
Oh man, he was coming to Nashville to film. No reservations, right? Parts Unknown? No reservations.
One of the shows.
One of the shows. That's bad, I should know that. And he requested that a tattoo artist be there. And he was cooking for everybody, and then there was like a show, like Dead Weather played, and Allison Mosshart, who is also in The Kills, they played. So it was at her house, and let's see, I know Allison's brother and I know his girlfriend, and so they called me and they said, hey, he wants a tattoo artist, we know you, what's going on? And at first I was a little hesitant because it was in a house, you know, and then I'm like, oh, it's not super sanitary, and it's not super, I mean, I guess I could technically get in trouble via the health department, and then it's like going to be aired on TV, you know, and then I decided, screw it.
Yeah.
When else do you get an opportunity like this? So I agreed to do it, and I showed up, and it was really wonderful. I can't say enough good things about Allison Mosshart, who put the party on. And her and Anthony Bourdain had like this kind of, they were just kind of in awe of each other and just really happy to interact. And so she actually drew a little scorpion, and I tattooed that scorpion on him, right in the ditch of his arm right here.
Lovely spot.
Lovely spot. And I mean, it was really pleasant. I wouldn't say he's like the nicest dude that I've ever met, but it's Anthony Bourdain. You don't expect him to be. He was exactly like you see him, cut and dry, you know.
Plus, I'm sure traveling that much and being on TV that much creates a lot of pressure.
Yeah, and you know, the thing that I realized is being a major celebrity would suck.
Oh yeah.
I just think it would be terrible. I mean, people were just sucking his dick left and right. People were like, oh, Tony, hey, oh, da-da-da-da-da. You know, and he's like, so it'd probably be really hard to make genuine connections with that many people trying to jump on top of you. And then even I got done tattooing him and I stepped outside and a guy came up to me and he was like, what's up? Hey, I'm Brian. I'm like, nice to meet you, you know, and he's like, so how do you know Tony? I'm like, well, I know his friend's brother's girlfriend. And then they were like, oh, okay. And then they just stopped talking. Yeah, so people were even just kind of like just trying to climb that ladder. And I think it'd be really hard to separate what's true and fake with that. I don't know. It seemed like it'd be really exhausting. So it's really sad to hear, and I'm glad that I took that opportunity because I almost didn't.
I was going to say, I was curious about how the design process came up because, I mean, if they reached out to you,
it was
not having a specific style in mind.
I think they reached out to me like 6 days beforehand. I was at the Detroit convention and I was with Dusty Neal and all the dudes from Black Anvil, and I was like, oh my gosh, I just got this text, and I was like, I can't do it. I have appointments a week from now. I'm not going to cancel my appointments to go tattoo Anthony Bourdain. And Dusty was like, yeah, you are. You got to do it, you know? And so I was like, man, really? And they were like, yes, you got to do it. And so thankfully it was a local client I had, and she just pushed her up earlier in the week and came in on a day off so that I could take off to do it. And I think I was there till like 3 a.m. So I designed a little flash sheet, and it had like, you know, like dice and scorpions and stuff. And then anybody who came, I tattooed probably like 13 other people that night.
That's a lot.
They were just like little, you know. Well, and people were like drunk as the night. They were like, Amanda, have a drink. And I was like, absolutely not. You know, it's scary enough to tattoo like on camera, and then it was.
Especially, I mean, like you don't want it to start drinking, and next thing you know, you're a little bit sauced, and you're on camera tattooing, and next thing you know, you're watching yourself on TV. And
then it's terrible. I tattooed drunk one time when I was like 22, and I tattooed the state of Texas backwards on this woman.
Oh my God.
And I was like, never again.
How did she not notice?
She was drunk too. It was like an older woman's birthday, and she's like, can we bring some wine in? I was like, okay. It was bad. So I didn't drink. I kept really straight, but then, you know, when you're not drinking and everybody else around you is, it's more and more apparent. And so people were drunk, kind of trying to get a tattoo, and almost knocked the entire table over. And then Dead Weather's playing next door. I mean, it was just kind of chaotic and probably not very sanitary, but I'm really glad I did it.
You started tattooing in 2004?
2005.
2005?
Yeah.
We did a rough estimate.
Yeah.
Over the last 14, 15 years?
Yeah.
How do you think how have you noticed the tattoo industry changing?
Oh man, I mean, I think so many people are so much better, so much earlier on. Don't you think, like, just having social media in front of you to really look at artists and what's good and what's bad? I remember we would like hear about somebody or read about somebody in a tattoo magazine and then see if they had a website. Jeff Gogway had a website really early. Jason Vaughn. And I would just like check Jason Vaughn's website all the time to see if he'd updated work, you know. So it was a lot harder to figure out what was out there. And then, I don't know. I think as far as having clientele and getting busy, I might have a skewed view of it because I was one of very few females tattooing in Dayton, and I think that actually helped me a lot. Yeah. You know, in a lot of industries.
Did you have a harder time getting an apprentice because you were a female?
See, that's the thing. I think, no. I don't know if I had good timing or anything. I think in so many different industries, it's male-driven, and you know, women have to work twice as hard. But I truly think I had it a little bit easier because I was a girl. Because people wanted to come get tattooed by the girl. I think people wanted to see what was going on, and a lot of females were really excited about that. And so I was able to get pretty good pretty quickly, you know, by obviously working hard, and then also just having kind of an advantage of being the one female in an all-male environment.
One of the things I was talking to in a prior interview is like the magazine era. You had no control over. I mean, like, you had to be approved by a specific somebody.
I don't think I've ever been in a magazine. ever.
And I mean, like, compared to Instagram, you're seeing a lot more tattoos. There's a lot more way to publish your work compared to that one magazine. If they don't like your work, then you're not getting it.
And then even if they publish it, like, who's really seeing it? We're all on our phones constantly. Things just feed to you on the popular page or whatever you want to call it, And so even if you don't follow that person, it's just in your face, But a magazine, you really got to seek it out and pay attention.
Do you keep a personal Instagram away from your professional Instagram?
When I got pregnant, I started. I never did before. I don't mind it being intertwined. I'm like one of those people that doesn't mind seeing what somebody eats for lunch or seeing their family and things like that. But I figured the baby would be a little bit much.
Posting pictures of the baby. And there's a certain level of privacy that you want.
I didn't make it private. I might still.
Just like a separation of.
Yeah, like, if you choose and this is something you're interested in, and maybe I've tattooed you and we've talked about your kids and my kids, and you knew that I've always wanted a kid, so it's exciting for some people to see, and then I get to connect with a few clients of mine got pregnant at the same time, and so that's been really fun. And I'm not trying to shove it down everybody's throat, but
I understand.
Yeah.
So that's the stuff that you've seen in the last 15 years. What would you like to see change in the next 10 to 15 years?
Oh man, I don't know.
You're seeing a lot of improvements in regards to digital tablets, regards to Tattoo Smart.
I'm such a hypocrite because I would love to see it go back to analog and see people really draw and use pencil and paper. I use an iPad and it's so easy and nice, but part of me kind of hates it still, just because it's just a whole different process. I don't want to like lose being able to just sit down and draw something. Matt my husband still draws everything, and watching him is so nice and inspiring. But then I'll watch him draw something symmetrical and I'm like, I can just do that for you in 2 seconds. So sometimes I'd like, try to help him out a little bit, and I think it's got its place. When I'm doing paintings, I, for a long time, used the tablet for tattoos, but not for paintings, and I was like, I'm drawn for paintings, I'm not doing anything, and I've given that up too. It's just too easy, and it's so convenient and nice. So I don't know. I guess I like the old way of things, but I don't really see it going back that way.
Who was the last person?
Oh my gosh, I got my back piece started by Chris Marchetto. Chris Marchetto is in Northampton, along with so many other good tattooers for some reason.
Yeah, that's a great place to be.
Yeah, he's a wonderful dude, and I was like, okay, I'm moving back to Philly. Chris is close. I think I'll get my back. I'm gonna wait till fall. I really planned it out, like I'm gonna do this, right? And would you believe I got pregnant 2 weeks later?
Oh.
Yeah.
You got your back lined out?
Yes. Yeah, and I was like, oh no. And so I had to call him and be like, hey.
We're gonna put the tattoo on hold for a little while.
Yeah, and he's really understanding and wonderful. So he's like, of course, I'm really happy for you, So.
Not like just bailing out, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a little bit different.
Once I'm done breastfeeding, that's the first thing I'm doing.
Yeah.
Going back to Chris.
What's he doing?
Just two big cranes, like Japanese cranes. Okay. Really simple. I don't want it to take too long.
Are there any tattoo artists that are kind of flying under the radar that you think should get more recognition?
I don't know. Who's
Besides
under
your husband, obviously. I don't know how.
He's got 90,000 followers. He's fine.
Oh, never mind.
He's been all over the world, but he is, in my opinion, in the top 90th percentile of people I've ever worked with who can draw. He is just like really rawly talented and a harder worker than so many people. So he's endlessly impressive. If you don't follow him, you should. Other than that, man.
What's your husband's Instagram name, just for anybody who wants to follow him?
_Lambden.
_Lambden?
Yeah, and everybody at True Hand, they're all really good.
LAMBDEN?
D-I-N.
Okay.
Like a lamb dinner.
LAMBDIN.
LAMBDIN.
All right, cool.
It's my last name too. You'd think I'd know it better now. I don't know. I think with Instagram, it's like the people are under the radar, and all of a sudden you're like, who is this person? Where have they been? They've got, tens of thousands of followers, and it's really hard to miss people nowadays. That being said, there's probably a lot that I'm missing, but I'm kind of like in a different world right now.
I think it's hard to miss people, but at the same time, though, it's very easy to miss people because of the
so much good stuff. So many people.
Artists.
Sure.
People in Europe, Australia, America, people are coming and going so much.
Yeah.
That it's just hard to constant, and especially with your feed, since your feed doesn't really do a very good job of showing everybody's work.
No, not timely even.
And so like we follow some artists that it's hard because I mean like we'll follow you and we don't see any of your work, and then we'll go to your profile and then you've been posting work that we just haven't been seeing for some reason.
And there's all this new stuff that you didn't know about. Yeah. It's the algorithms. I'll never fully understand why they do what they do. You know.
I would like it's impossible unless you actually talk to somebody on Instagram, I think, to get a good understanding.
But even then, it changes all the time. I feel like.
I would imagine their algorithms have to be proprietary.
Yeah.
Or they're not going to discuss them.
Yeah, and then when I get a sponsored ad for a tattoo artist, I'm so turned off by it because it's like. I get it, and I get why you'd want to do that, but at the same time, your work could speak for yourself, and if you keep it up, you shouldn't need to pay for that, I guess.
No, I completely agree, and that's part of the no, I mean that's part of the reason why we have never taken money for a paid post.
That's great.
Because we get a lot of people who offer us, hey, I'll give you 20, 25 hours to post my work, and it's like
that's not what this is.
It keeps us kind of neutral.
Well, and it would lose a lot of your credit if people are like, oh, you can just pay them off. They're not really interested in who's doing the best work. Mm-hmm. So, no offense to people that do it, but it's a bit of a turnoff.
So what are your plans, except for coming back from, when do you plan on coming back to tattooing?
So I told myself I would take a year.
When do you plan on leaving the baby and coming back to tattooing?
Well, what's great about True Hand is that there are no hours.
Yeah.
So we each can work and come and go as we please. So Matt and I sat down recently and we worked at a schedule where like I'll work a half day and then we'll switch off. You know, I can even walk the baby up here, switch out, tattoo in the evening. So I think I'm going to come back a limited days of the week, maybe 3 days, a couple of half days in that. Come July, I want to say. So don't have a set date, but the baby turns 1 at the end of June, and then that will be a year. So we'll see how it goes from there.
Do you have any plans for the remaining part? Do you have any plans for 2019?
2019, I would love to make enough paintings to have an art show. That would be really good. And this space is so huge, and Mike has agreed to kind of like put me up and let me do it. So that would be a nice way to kind of introduce back into tattooing and make a little money back, pay off those hospital bills.
Yep.
And then also, we want to travel. You know, like you don't have to pay for a flight until the kid is 2.
Yeah.
So we, what's his name? Black Magic Jake. That's his Instagram name, right? You've interviewed him.
Yep.
Yeah. So he's a bud, and he's over in Sweden. So we were talking about going and visiting him and his wife, and maybe going to Norway. And Matt has a sleeve started by Johan Svan, who's incredible. So we're talking about maybe just getting a free baby flight and going over maybe in May or something. So I think a little bit of traveling would feel good, and kind of like we're real humans again.
So if anybody's interested in getting tattooed by you, how do they reach out to you?
Instagram would be great. I've got a link on my profile. So my Instagram is agracie, AGRACIE, and then also True Hand website.
Okay.
Yeah, you can submit through the True Hand website, or you can email me directly right on there.